wanna be free when my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay. Another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Kamille Smith, and today is a special day. It is the 150th episode. Booka. So I am actually really excited. Even though I knew about it last week, I didn't acknowledge that I've done 150 episodes. I've been really consistent, even when the times when I feel like I'm scrambling and everything, I've been staying consistent. So welcome, folks. For everyone that's listening live and then that's listening with the replay, I just thought I would bring up a topic that is really crucial at this time of the year because, we're in our last quarter of the year, and this is the time when, even if you're thinking about Halloween or the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, still try to wear pink. It looks pink. Don't worry. It looks pink. It's pink. I'm just trying to flow with it. But also, it's the time when the holidays are coming. I know in Canada, we have our Thanksgiving already, but then the Americans, and then Christmas comes and all that stuff. So I just want to have you guys mindful about, saving or being prepared with your savings. So, I decided that I was going to find an article that would help elaborate on why we should save. Saving is the key to life. Actually, let me rephrase that. I love when people have the habit of saving, but I also love when people have the habit of graduating into investing. So that's why I'm making you guys think about savings, but also be mindful about investing. So we're gonna do a crash course when it comes to saving and all that good stuff. Just hold on a second while I find the article. Just here. Okay, so here is the lovely article. So the article's from NBC .ca, which is National Bank. I feel like they were just bought out by HSBC or the other way around. So this is a bank that we have that wants to talk about savings, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to talk about it because actually the reason why it hit me was because I was just looking about like how to compare debt and savings, but the one thing that it said was how much someone should save by age 30. And that's the question that I want to ask folks. Like, how much did you save by age 30? I'll tell you this, the amount that it says, I didn't do that when I reached 30. I know I look young, but at that age, I don't believe I had that much. But then I also spoke to a couple people, and they even said that they, at age 30, they weren't even saving. So if there is someone out here that is younger than 30 and they're like, well, how does this relate with me? Well, you can still think of like whether it's 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're just starting your new job. How much money would you want to save by age 30? And to the folks that are 40 and 50, there is other stats about it. So I'm deciding whether actually I'll start with that because it will make you say, is that so? So by age 30, it says that you should actually have saved at least one time equivalent of your annual income. So anyone in the chat, just tell me if you've been able to reach that. Like, have you been able to reach one times your annual income? And we'll say gross. We'll say gross. I know some people are like, but Kamille, I don't even get that much. It's okay. It's okay. Let's make it easy and say gross. So let's say the average is 75. If you at least have $75,000 saved up by age, oh, this is 35. Haha. Okay, everyone, you're lucky. By age 35, you should have saved the equivalent of your annual income. But let's go back to 30. Okay, let's go back to 30 because yeah, yes. So by age 40, you should have 2.1 times your annual income. I know some people are gonna be like, Cam, you're killing me right now. You're killing me. Like, what? And I also want to say, if you haven't reached this, we're gonna find ways or tools to get to this point because I just want to break down like how to save for your retirement. It's ideally saving for your retirement, thinking about your retirement, but you also want to think of everything else. At age 50, you should have 4.6 times your annual income. At age 60, 8.5 times your annual income. And by age 65, your retirement age, you should have 11.3 times your annual income. If you're looking at this and you're stressed, I totally understand. I totally understand. But you want to be able to keep this in mind, especially folks that are like under 20. You want to keep this in mind and just kind of have a goal. But if you feel like it's an unrealistic goal, it's okay. There is ways that we could do this, right? So I really want people to take this in consideration. So anyone that's at age 30, since it says you should have at least equivalent of annual income, let's just say half. So if you at least have half of your annual income, you're heading in a good path. And I always tell people that are like, age less than 30 or just a little past 30 and they've had a savings plan that been working and it's healthy. I always commend them because a lot of folks, like I said, mentioned that age 30 they didn't have a savings plan. So I really want to commend people and just say, hey, you're doing a great job, just keep at it. Right? So now that I'm not distracted anymore, just a little bit, just making sure everyone's able to see. Okay, now that I'm not distracted, I want to go based on the article. So this article, it actually first mentions how much you should save for an emergency fund, right? So the first sign, whatever age you're at, the first sign of your savings is that your savings are in a good health is the state of your emergency fund. So normally what people say is emergency fund should be 3 to 6 months of expenses, right? And what I've been mentioning in when I work with Black Moms Connection webinars, I always mention that since the pandemic, it actually increased to 6 to 12 months. So, and the reason why is because with the emergency fund, this suddenly you lose a job, suddenly you have unexpected expenses, suddenly lose a person, suddenly you get injured. if you don't have a emergency fund or a safety net, your life feels like it's shambled. You're like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do, right? So you really want to be able to have this safety net or emergency fund to cover those costs. And telling you, it's either you have a high interest savings account or a tax free savings account, which be able to help you funnel that. And I would even say if you at least put 10%, 20%, actually 20% into a savings, you'll see that each paycheck you get, you should have the habit of saving. If you don't do that, you will see how much pressure it is to actually like save. And if you have the habit of using Uber Eats, or if you have the habit of getting that Starbucks coffee, you should have also the habit of saving for a rainy day. Because I always say you have to save for a rainy day. You should pay yourself first. And it only makes sense. Like you have your bills that you're paying. So you have your bills, rent, mortgage, car payment, all that good stuff. Why aren't you paying yourself first? Right? You really want to take that in consideration because you come first. Without your safety net, you're out of luck. Trust me. Trust me on this one. So you really want to be able to think about saving, putting money first. So, okay, so we talked about the emergency fund. So how about how much should you, so the article also talks about how much you should save if you have children. Children aren't cheap. And I'm not laughing, but I every time I see a friend that like has their child and they're like, they're so expensive. Like I can imagine. But there's also, responsibilities that you want to not withhold, to have when it comes to a child, because you're bringing the child in. So you kind of want to keep them. It would be ideal to have money saved for them as well, because there are things that you can do. Like there's a RESP that we can save money for them. And there's also, so the RESP, and I mentioned this previously, is money that you can save for your child's education, post-secondary, online, all that good stuff. And the good thing about it is that the government will give you money for putting money in, up to a certain amount, of course. Make sure you go back to that episode to listen to that one. But so if you have children, the first question to ask yourself is, are you saving enough to take advantage of the government? Oh, look, government incentives and subsidies. Keep in mind that you can get the most out of an RSP. You need to deposit at least $2,500 per child annually, so you're able to get $500, up to 20% of that money. So then the article wants to give you guys some strategies. And don't we like strategies? How to review your savings strategy. In addition to the cost of education, children come with many other expenses. So wait. For anyone that is listening and anyone's in the chat, what is the top 3 expenses of your child? Is that you're just like, oh my gosh. And it depends on, when they first born. Because I always think about, honestly, every time I go to a baby shower, the first thing I think of is, they need diapers. Because the child will be using the washroom a lot. I was going to swear, but the expense of daycare is like one things I think about. But I want to hear it from the parents themselves. Like, what are the top 3 expensive things or expenses that happen when you're in when you have children? And this may, so This means your overall savings may have dropped once you have children, especially if your income is lower. During the time that you, because yeah, when you're on leave, maternity leave or pent- maternity parental leave, you obviously, I believe it's 66% of your income. So you also want to strategize that. Once you know you're having a child, you want to strategize that. Okay, Shayna says, "Ooh, baby furniture." Yes. Yes. Actually, I love when folks are able, like during a baby shower, able to like donate certain things, because like a stroller, frigging I'm glad you said baby furniture, stroller, furniture, some clothes, depends how close you are with people, but diapers for sure is ideal, a cost. But you also want to think of the saving strategy when it comes to that. So it says to take advantage, reduce your RSP contributions. So when it comes to that, now, it's either are you going to sacrifice some of your RSP contribution to put into your RS for your children's RSP, or are you going to learn how to do it both? I mean, if you put if you reduce your RSP contribution when your income is lower, it's actually going to be more ideal, because once your income comes back to normal, actually, yeah, that's like actually a great idea. Thank you, National Bank. So to the folks that no, because the RSP you can't get then. Nope. Okay, so when you just go on maternity leave, it's ideal to lower your RSP contribution, put into the RSP contributions, because you'll be able to not only get the 20% contribution as well, but when your taxable income is lower, regardless, you're trying to offset with the RSP contributions. It doesn't make sense and when I say it doesn't make sense, it's not beneficial, because your income's already lower. So that's actually a great idea. Boom. And if your budget is tighter after your child arrival, a TFSA contribution may be a better option for you, because of you'll be able to take out that money whenever. When you put in your RSP, it's locked in, right? However, go back to that other episode where I talk about it. Oh, I see breastfeed formulas if you don't breastfeed. Oh, true. So this is the common expenses for children that you want to really think about. So if you're having children, really take this, or you're thinking of having children, take this in consideration. Really save. I would say even save, like have a different savings account for children, like when you're starting up. And another question, actually, sorry folks. Let me start using the banner. How much should you save? How much should you save at the beginning and the end of your career? So this is the next question that they had. And it's how much should you set aside at the start of your career? When you enter the workforce, retirement seems like a distant thought. So, you're going to be you're not even going to be thinking about retirement, because you're just like, okay, I just want to get into this workplace, boom, bam, bam. However, if this workplace has great benefits, maximize on your benefits. Maximize on those benefits. Anyone that receives benefits that, like, the pension, I swear, every time I hear someone say that that's what they have and they don't utilize that, a part of me dies inside, because you should be maximizing on the pension. And for the American folks, I know they're gonna be coming true soon. If your workforce puts money into your 401k or your Roth IRA, utilize that. That is free money, especially when it's matching. So two tips that they say is optimizing your savings is, like I said, maximizing your benefits. There's RSP contributions or stock purchase plans based on the level of contribution that you should make most of. So let's say they match dollar to dollar, get that free money. And if there's stock options, actually, I do have to talk about that one time, because it's a great plan, but it's also a way to keep you there for a long time. Because the stock option plan is like, basically, the longer that you've been there, you'll be able to get more money with them, right? With the option plan. So that's another one. And also, two, try to save as much taxes as possible. Ideally, as soon as your salary is high enough to pay taxes, you should be contributing to your RSP. Obviously, we've been talking about that. And remember, you can invest up to 18% of your annual salary on the RSP. However, I would always say, check first, talk to your tax accountant or taxpayer. Also look at your notice of assessment to see how much money that you have, how much room you have left to contribute to your RSP and your tax-free savings. That's really important. If you're self-employed, for the self-employed folks, we know how hard that is. You can't really deduct your taxes automatically, but please, it is a great idea to put aside money. Have a second account where you just put money aside to your taxes. I always recommend at least 30%, because it will be able to cover your taxes, your HST, and just have that less of a stress when it comes to having that, right? So really, really take that into consideration. All right. And then let's switch it up to, once again, I'm gonna show this one because this one really shocked me. How much to set aside for your retirement? Okay. So I want to let y'all know that a lot of y'all need to start thinking about your retirement. Even if you're 20, 25, and you don't see retirement coming because it's far too long, please, once again, nothing breaks my heart more is when I go to Walmart or any other store, Walmart especially, and I see greeters that are like, should be retired, and the reason why they're still working is because they didn't save enough money for their retirement. And I know someone's going to be like, but Cam, you just told me to save for your children. Yes, but I'm also saying, do a percentage towards your children, because you don't want them to like have the OSAP, struggling during school and stuff. And it depends on your salary as well. If you can afford it and you can budget it properly, then by all means do both. But I'm really concerned about how people's mindset is about retirement, because a lot of you guys haven't started considering savings. A lot of you haven't considered investing, so you don't have to work as much to save. So really take that in consideration. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Take that into consideration. And I'll repeat it again. How much? So I'm going to ask the folks that are online, how much do you need to retire? What's that number that you have in your head that will say like, yo, once I have this number, I'm Gucci? And I honestly, my number changes all the time. And I said like 5 million. I was like, yeah, once I have 5 million, I'm good. I don't need anything else. Like, and I know with discipline and sacrifice and discipline. And when I say discipline, I mean like following a guideline of what I know, what I have to do, whether it's saving, whether it's investing wisely. I know what I have to do to get to that goal. However, when I get to that goal, don't ask me for money. Okay? As for my retirement, I am not a bank. That is for Kamille and then her family legacy and all that stuff. It's not going to be Bank of Kamille and stuff. Okay? So but I want you guys, ladies and gentlemen, to tell me a price that you would say like, yo, if I had this amount, I can retire right now. And mind you, that amount that I'm thinking of, it's going to be including compound interest. It's going to be including dividends. It's going to be including other passive income. So I'll be good, like to the point where I don't have to work as much. That's how I think of retirement. As I'll still work. I'll still do fitness IQ and all that great stuff, but it's an amount where I'm not going to have to work as hard. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to work that hard, but I'm okay with working this hard for now, right? So once again, you really want to drop, like, you really want to budget and think of how much debt you're gonna have, how your pension plan is gonna be, especially if you're at a career where it provides a pension plan. It will tell you each year. I really want you to sit down with me, of course, and let's figure out your pension plan as well for your retirement. So you'll be able to figure out how much more you would need to save for that, right? But once again, like I said before, at age 35, you should have at least equivalent of your annual income. Age 40, 2.1, age 50, 4.6, at age 60, 8.5 times your annual income, and at age 65, a retirement age, 11.3 times your annual income. So if I get it before then, I'm Gucci, right? So now on to the next question. So the next one is actually really interesting. This is for the folks that are in real estate, or someone that's thinking of real estate. How much should you save for your first property? If you're really thinking about a first property, the first step, and I would love to get some folks' stories of how they were able to purchase their first property, especially after the pandemic, because I know there's some folks that, got their property, whether it was together with someone, alone. I can only imagine how tricky it is. So someone said, okay, wait. So someone said $10 million is their amount. Once they get 10 million retirement, they're out. All right, Shane, I'm gonna see you. But also the first thing you want to think about, and this again comes with the emergency fund or even saving, is you have to make sure you have a down payment, right? There's some examples that some of them is minimum 5% to 20. I actually don't quote me on this, and I could ask the mortgage folks. Apparently, if it's your residential property, it's 5 to 20, right? But there's also an extra cost if you don't put the 20% in of the property value, of course. If it's investment property, apparently you have to put the 20% in, or I think it's even more. Anyone that wants to clarify that or tell me if that's correct, please let me know. But that's crazy. But I understand it's investment property. You're looking towards having tenants or flipping it and being able to accumulate income. So I totally understand that. So it's something like that. The long list of costs to consider at the time of the purchase is generally represents 2 to 3% of the property value. So you really want to be mindful. I'm not going to say have an extra account for this, but if you want, you can. And I'm actually going to tell you guys 5 accounts that I usually mention to Black Moms Connection. So you guys are going to get the, exclusiveness. And hold on, I'm going to give you guys 9 fees to consider when buying a home. I believe Rennie mentioned it not too long ago, but 9 fees to consider. So I'm helping y'all out. For the ones that are looking for property, you really want to take this in consideration. Let's go with this. 9 fees. If I can't say them all, it's all good. Oh, property appraisal fees, building inspection fees, legal fees, mortgage insurance premiums. That one's debatable. Sales tax on new properties, welcome tax or land transfer tax, renovations, moving and decoration costs, and annual fees. And to the folks that have homes or have experienced this, let me know which fee you hate the most. Oh gosh, because those fees are crazy. And then also the last question that it has when it comes to this article about thinking about how much to save is how much would you save for a major project? Sorry. How much would you save for a major project? So there's one project that I've been always thinking. I think I've been thinking about it for the last 5 years. I really want a sunroom in our backyardish. We have the potential. We have enough space. It's just, when you envision something and you wish you can do it, but there's also permits and all that things, and how will it work with how the barbecue is. I really want it. One of these days I'm gonna get it. I don't care. I'm gonna get it. Okay, guys. But however, there's other projects that you may want to think about. There's like going on a trip, flying out. It's been a minute. A car. You guys already know how I feel about cars, whatever. Or even, I would even say like renovating. That's a major project. You really want to put money aside for those type of game plans, because there's going to be expenses that, especially if you have a contractor, there's going to be unexpected expenses. The project might prolong and stuff. Like, you really want to take those in consideration. So always budget and have a wiggle room when shit happens, because shit always happens, right? Like I said, anticipate higher budget costs to ensure you have enough savings to be comfortable once the project is over. And the rest of your savings, such as emergency fund or retirement, your emergency fund or retirement savings shouldn't be used for these special projects. I know sometimes people will dabble into their emergency fund or retirement savings to go on a trip and stuff, but ideally you want to have a separate account for that, right? And I will mention that. Ooh, but here's a good question. And this is a question I want to ask y'all. Okay. Should you pay off your debt or start saving? Me personally, and I know there's going to be some folks that are going to disagree with this, and that's fine, because I'm not going to clip this like EA's clip. But I think it's okay to do both. You're just gonna experience a longer journey when it comes to paying off debt and saving, because at the end of the day, while you're paying off your debt and saving, your net worth is still going up, right? So it's ideal to have a budget. But however, I always say this: if there's a time when you've saved so much and then your debt's so low, and you can take a little chunk of that savings just to get rid of it. At least you're not going back at square one to having a savings, right? I honestly, the one thing about it is I wouldn't want your safety net to be extremely at zero. That's when things get scary. So I'm always about balancing and doing it at the same time. And even if you have debt, it's not the end of the world. As long as it's manageable and you're able, as long as you're able to sleep at night with the debt that you have, then it's fine. Because people have mortgages, people have car. Actually, no. I rather, if you have a mortgage, that is fine. When it's like other type of debt, that's when it gets iffy. Like that's why I'm like, I don't really like it, but it's not the end of the world, right? If as long as you're able to manage it and budget wisely, then it's fine. But yeah, it doesn't mean you have to stop saving. You can save while paying it off. And there's two ways to do that. I'm pretty sure I have an episode. I'll try to click it in the show notes. Is there's the snowball method or the avalanche method. So that way, it's either you want that, ooh, those small wins. You're like, yeah, okay, boom, that $500 gone. Boom, let me put it into this debt. Boom, that one's gone. You could do that, and it gives you that gratification that you're able to have the habit of paying off your debt and then putting it into another debt that you have. I'm not saying you should have all these debts, but or you have the avalanche when it's the highest amount that you have or the highest interest, and then you just want to knock that out. And that way you'll be able to see less interest being taken out, because nothing kills you more than this fucking interest. I'm sorry, I had to curse, because the interest is actually the thing that makes folks suffer the most. So you really want to get rid of your debt as soon as you can, but also save or graduate into investing, and just do it wisely. Just slow and steady wins the race, but you have to have a plan at the same time, right? And the next question is, should you dip into your emergency fund? If it's, I'm no saint. Have I dipped into the emergency fund for certain things? Yes, but I wouldn't recommend doing it all the time. We have to know what is considered emergency. Like, there's unforeseen circumstances that happen where you'll be able to like realize like, damn, I didn't expect that. Like, I don't want you to use your emergency fund because you wanted to get lobster today. You're just craving for it. And maybe I'm laughing because I've done it, but I like slap myself on the wrist and say, Kamille, you shouldn't have done that. That was actually stupid. But and I'm not saying what that's stupid for you, that's stupid for me, but you want to be able to realize the discipline that you need when it comes to like paying off your debt. There's certain things you have to sacrifice, right? And Uber Eats is a sacrifice you have to get rid of, right? But like I said, you want to set up a repayment plan to be able to cut off to reduce your debt. And also this means cutting out non-essential expenses, Uber Eats, and postponing certain projects, parties, events. I know someone's gonna be like, Kamille, but I gotta live my life. My quality of my life is fine, but if your debt is making you lose sleep, then I really want you to consider paying off your debt instead of enjoying the quality of your life, because with you losing sleep, you're just gonna stress yourself away. So please really consider have a plan with paying off your debt, because you'll thank me in the long run. And if you want, but also if you don't think you're able to do that, then book a time with me to be able to do that, and we'll be able to do that together. Even Max wants you to save. So I can hear him. Why? But also, oh, let's see. So one of the things, so one of the questions is, see, this article has a lot of great questions, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of folks that have been wondering about these questions as well. That's why I decided to talk about it. Should you take money out of your registered accounts, and if so, which one? So, obviously, once again, I'm gonna actually at the end of this episode, I'm going to put that video up and another video up just for you to know the registered accounts. But I'll say it real quick. Registered accounts are RSPs, RIF, TFSA, FHSA, RSPs, RDSPs, Lira, LIF, all that good stuff. Should you take money out of your registered account? So that's mostly your RSP. I wouldn't advise it unless you're in real hard times, because you are going to be penalized, and you'll be penalized, and it's gonna be added to your taxable income. So unless you can take out from your TFSA, I wouldn't take out from your RSP. But that's just me. There's anyone else that will debate that? Sure, cool, but why put the risk of adding more money into your taxable income and paying more taxes when there's another strategy that you can do, your TFSA? So really take that into consideration, or your non-registered accounts, which is like a regular high interest savings. You can take out that, and you won't be penalized as much, right? So really consider the ones that you're not going to be penalized. And once again, if you want to sit down with me, we can strategize all that good stuff. And should you, this is the last one, I promise. Should you adjust your savings or your spending? So, well, if you have certain goals, so I always say, if there's certain goals that you have in your life, then you definitely want to adjust your savings or adjust your spending. Because if you want to make, like Shana said, you want to make $10 million to retire, how are you going to do that? How are you going to plan that? Are you going to stop? Are you going to sacrifice that Uber Eats? Are you going to sacrifice that popping bottles every week? Are you going to sacrifice putting money towards your I have a different type of savings for each goal that I have. So it's like, are you going to make the sacrifices to be able to reach your goals? And that's what's going to determine whether you should adjust your savings or adjust your spending. Hola, 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 hola. So I want to tell you guys my 5 different savings accounts that I always consider, and maybe you should consider it too, because there's nothing wrong with those type of savings. And the first one is the emergency fund. It's always ideal to have at least 3 to 6 months savings. Sorry, 3 to 6 months of your expenses into that one. I also have the Aw Shit fund. And the Aw Shit fund is literally, there's been so many times when I've literally popped my tire, and instead of rattling like how I'm gonna pay this and getting crazy or getting anxiety from my day-to-day expenses, I have a savings account literally for that, right? Actually, yeah. So it's emergency fund, my aw shit fund, my treat yourself fund, and that is when it comes to budgeting. A lot of people find budgeting restraining, controlling, and all that good stuff. But at least if you have um, a certain account that where you can treat yourself, you'll be able to have. Oh, you know what? I feel like we in line when it comes to multiple accounts because it's actually very beneficial to have different savings accounts, right? And what type of accounts do you have, ma'am? um so with the treat yourself fund, you can actually, whether you want to get a pedicure, you do that Uber Eats, you want to have that filet mignon, whatnot, or travel, as Kel's just mentioned. That is something that you would want to do, right? You definitely want to treat yourself. And I say it just like that, just so you can stay sane with your goals. And then there's the gosh, nope. So 1, 2, 3. So then you have your financial freedom or retirement. And the people that want 5 million, 10 million in their financial freedom account, then those are the things that you can do. And then I think it's educational. I can't find it right now on the dot because it's somewhere else where it's not. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. I found it. I know I should have loaded up before. Forgive me. Forgive me. But boom, 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 boom. Oh, shit. Okay, yes. Okay, I got it. So the shit fund is for your unpredictable expenses. The emergency savings fund is for your 2 to 6 months or 6 to 9 months expenses. Treat yourself fund is for whatever you like to keep you sane in reaching your goals and keeping your budget going. Sinking funds. I almost forgot that one. Sinking fund. That could be part of your travel, or every year we have something that we know we're going to have. It's either your birthday, traveling, holidays. You know for sure those are going to happen. So why not have a sinking fund and just sinking fund to be able to have those predictable expenses? And every time I say sinking fund, it's very interesting that folks don't know that concept. So it's a predicted expense fund, so you won't have to scramble. And if you guys remember, I literally have said, especially during Christmas, I had a set budget for Christmas spending, and I was able to match that. Maybe this year it's only prayers. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. But I'm not joking. I'm joking. Is that there's the sinking fund literally is your birthday, because I know people want to be treated on their birthday like queens, princesses, kings, and princes and all that good stuff. So why not have a fund for that? Also financial freedom account, and that's just for your goals that you have. And even if you want to add another one, it depends on how you feel about multiple thank you. Depending on how you like multiple accounts and how you think about them, whether it's overwhelming or so, you really want to shucks, there's one. Home renovations. So you see how I was talking about major purchases or major projects? Renovation, because if you remember my housing episode, the roof needs to be fixed, appliances need to be done, the driveway is going to be there, the furnace will go out, the electricity will go out. You really want to be able to have those things intact as well. So that can also be part of your emergency savings. But I think like that's another project account that you can have, just, or the shit fund actually, that could be in there, because whether it's your tire pops, your water bursts because it's winter time, because we're in the winter, like winter's coming. You really want to think of those things that happen. But I know there's some folks that are renting and stuff, but let's say the folks that are renting, someone breaks into your car or something, knock on wood, just something emergency that makes you say, oh shit, you really want to have these type of funds so you're able to be prepared, because it's better to be prepared than being frustrated, flustered, and wondering where you're gonna get the safety net and all that good stuff. I've seen someone put property tax. Whoa! I think that's for, oh yes, that was the one of the fees for houses. Yes, hate property tax, but at least you can claim it back upon your taxes. And I always go back to taxes because I think a lot of folks don't talk about that enough. Yeah, property taxes are pretty whack. I'm not gonna lie. And let's see. So Shayna says she has savings, bills, gift, events, outings. Yes. Okay. Sorry. I'm so to the parents. I'm sorry. Remember. I don't have children. You definitely would like to have a children's account as well, but I feel like that could be part of the sinking fund as well, because your kids are gonna need clothes, back to school stuff, and all that good stuff. So that's, remember, these accounts that I've mentioned, you can make your own name up for them. And also, if you look in the showcase, if you want to open up a Simply account, which is a free account, no fee account, please click on the link and you'll be able to get a little, a nice, a pretty penny for joining with my link. So shameless plug. So these are ways that you really want to take consideration of saving. And remember, once you've got the habit of saving, then you can graduate into investing. I know some people are going to say investing is scary and all that good stuff, but let's think of safe ways to do it. Even though I have a long-term account and a risque account. It's not doing too well, but the long-term one is strictly like dividends, growth stocks, ones that are really doing well, and just get the habit into that. And hey, if there's a point where you have to, and I've experienced this, and I've seen other people experience this, if you have an investment that has skyrocketed or has taken its course, or you need it to pay for something that was unexpected because it was overseed your savings account, it's okay to sell it to be able to cover certain expenses that you have, right? So you definitely want to take that into consideration. Yes, investing. I always talk about the rule of 72. I want to talk about it today because I know I've been rambling on for the longest time. But actually, I lied to you guys. There's one thing else on this article that I want to share because I think it's something we don't think about. But I feel like we've talked about it when Onika was on talking about yays and nays of credit. The option requires, do you need a financing solution? This option requires careful consideration. You need to weigh the interest rate you'll be paying on a loan against the return on your investments. If the interest that you have to pay is greater than the gains you're making on your investments, it may make more sense to withdraw part of your savings. And do the math. and see which option works for you. So this is if you want to leverage your money to be able to invest. And I know I saw this discussion on another platform, and I'll just say that I understood the concept. It was just the clip was wild, edited at the wrong point, but leveraging is okay. And when you leverage properly, you're able to claim those interests as well on your taxes. And once again, I'm always going to talk about taxes and how it circulates with certain things that you have. And don't worry, next month is Financial Literacy Month. And I'm definitely going to have a tax planning or tax strategy episode for everyone to book an appointment again. So I actually loved this article because it just showed a lot of things. Like, I never considered thinking about how much to save for a major project. I mean, even though I have the different funds, I never thought to express it like this. So I'm really glad that I found this article, and I am really glad that everyone that was on the live and replay was enjoying this. And boom, bam, bam. What you just learned, Shayna? Huh? You're lucky you're not on here, but if you don't type it fast enough, I'm going to let everyone. But actually, no, I'll let you type it. But again, if there's certain things that you want to learn about savings, or you want to sit down with me to strategize a savings plan, honestly, it's right here. It's right here. Book me. We can have a discussion, and it will be a healthy discussion. I just want folks to have that mind. Oh, there it is. Sorry, I just realized how to do that. Wow, look at that, guys. You learn something new every day. I just want folks to be mindful of saving, be mindful of your spending habit, be mindful about your debt as well. And there's always a good plan. All right. And thank you, Shayna. We'll talk offline and all that good stuff. Thank you, Kels, as always. All right, folks. So make sure you like, subscribe, tell a friend, comment, all that good stuff. If there's something that, whatever question I had, please leave a comment. I love when you guys leave comments and stuff. I always check them and make sure I reply. All right. So till next time, folks, much love and peace out.
Financial literacy, knowledge is a must. So link the flip boss, watch the result flash, and watch your life change and feel a better cause. You have a business or a plan and want to make it. Yeah, flip and floss, so they want to manifest it. Yeah, and if you want to better manage all your credit, call the boss. Flip and floss, no doubt, then we do it. Yeah, flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, greatness in our blood because we're working for your cause. Flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, boots up your knowledge for your minimal cost. Hey, yeah, flip and floss, money literacy boss. Greatness in our blood because we're working for your cause. Flip and floss, money literacy boss. Yeah, up your knowledge for your minimal cost.